For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Fulta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the end of the work week. We've got your Friday free-for-all episode right here on Mammoth Daily. Mike Fulta and Adrian Denny, your Hockey Night in Utah radio crew, here with you. AD, everybody on the Wasatch Front walking a little taller here at the end of this week as we finish up the homestand. You take 13 out of a possible 14 points. You win 6 of 7. You end the homestand in dramatic fashion on Wednesday night with that OT thriller against Philadelphia. What was your goal coming into the homestand for points and wins?
I would have been tickled pink with a 5-2 record, and I would have been happy with a 4-2-1 record, right? 10 of 14 points is a 7-14 points percentage. 9 of 14 is in the sixes, but when you're home for 7 straight games, Mike, that's a long time, and it's a 7-game stretch the Mammoth had circled for a while. They knew this was coming. It was coming at the end of the road after playing the most road games, the most games in the NHL. And for me, looking at that and being realistic, would have been happy with 9 or 10 points. And I recalibrated my expectations after the Dallas game and said, we can do 13. Can stop and start 2 games in 6 nights, can come back and get 13 of 14. And they did. And Wednesday night, I'm thinking, 5-1-1 looks pretty good on paper. You schedule it at the beginning of the year, you'll take 5-1-1. And fortunately, the guys won and more and found a way to will themselves to make it happen.
Utah, by the way, 7th in points at home this year, 15-7-2, the home record for the Utah Mammoth, which, again, you never would have said even a couple weeks ago because the Mammoth had played the fewest road games or the fewest home games in the NHL for basically the first half of the season. That swings around in a dramatic fashion, and Utah makes the most of the homestand. AD, it was a homestand that, yes, Utah had scheduled or had circled on the schedule, but it was also the kind of homestand that this team needed to have with a couple other teams pushing in the Western Conference playoff race. And you only have so many opportunities to strike while the iron's hot in the back half of the year. And here in the dog days, as we've just played 50 games now for the Mammoth, that was a stretch that Utah needed to make the most of, and they did.
And I go back to last year, Dominic Moore telling us the Four Nations face-off. You need to put together 5, 6, 7 wins in a row. And Utah wasn't quite able to do it. They had some good moments. It was St. Louis who won 12 in a row. This year, Mike, Utah now has 2 stretches of going unbeaten in regulation in 7 games or more. Right now, they're 7-0-1 in their last 8, which is their best 8-game stretch in franchise history. Went 6-0-2 last December, had that 7-game winning streak to start the year in October. But Mike, these streaks or what you're talking about is what you need to yourself away from the pack. And the stat we mentioned on yesterday's show, in the last 4 years, 38 teams have had 2 stretches of going unbeaten in at least 7 straight games. 35 of those teams have made the playoffs. The Mammoth now in that bunch. So the percentages we talked about, the goal differential that Bill promised us on Tuesday with the Mammoth looking really good in goal differential. And now, you put together streaks. The 7-game winning streak allowed you to go through November and December, get through your tough times, and still be at a manageable spot. Now you can take it. Love the 7 games, but as you said, now Anaheim's entering Thursday, winning 5 in a row. You've got Seattle, who's all of a sudden back on track after 1 win over the Islanders in a 4-game winless skid. They're back in a playoff position. LA has 4 wins in their last 10, but points in 8 of their last 10 games. They're in the hunt, and Utah is going to face a team that's trying to hunt them down in Nashville. coming up on Saturday to start a 4-game road trip. So everything just gets tighter when you go down the stretch here in the second half of the year.
We think they're going to play Nashville. There's a lot of snow in the forecast. Like, who knows? We haven't taken off for Music City as we record this yet, but that's going to be it's going to be an interesting travel schedule for the Mammoth, rolling in with big storms expected to hit the southeast. AD, are you a Star Wars guy at all?
Don't know a thing about it. Don't know a thing about it. Don't know a thing. I know that R2D2's the garbage can, and
Hey! That watch it, okay? Do not speak about R2 like that. That was a little over the line.
And who's the guy that talks like this?
I know there's a character like that.
I don't even know. You might be from a galaxy far, far away. That was unreal. Are you trying to do Jar Jar Binks right there?
No, I don't think so. It's one of the main characters in Star Wars. And then there's Darth. I am your father. I know that one.
Yeah, there you go. So you're getting it. You're getting it.
I couldn't follow a movie for 10 seconds. No idea.
Well, you don't have to watch this scene because I'm just going to tell it to you. In Return of the Jedi, Luke goes to confront Vader, his father, and the rebels make like this big push to try and blow up the Death Star again. And you just see the evil Emperor Palpatine sitting in his throne room on the Death Star, watching out this like space window into the void at the Empire lying in wait for the rebels. And Emperor Palpatine is like condescending Luke, telling him that his efforts are futile and everything is going according to plan. And you realize that like everything is happening as the Emperor had envisioned it. And that is what I think about with thinking of this team right now. I think about Bill Armstrong in the offices in Sandy, leaning back in his chair this morning, thinking, this is exactly as we had foretold. Stay in the race until Christmas, make the push in January and February when you have a little bit more schedule space. Now, I think the schedule's part of it. I think Utah has played well. That's part of it. And the Mammoth are getting saves, which they weren't getting in November. That's a big part of it as well. Karel Vejmelka, third star of the week in the NHL last week, now has won 7 in a row, a career best win streak for him. We'll get to him more coming up in our Friday free-for-all. But AD, do you not feel like Bill Armstrong, the leadership, even like Bear, Coach Andre Tourney, they're sitting in their office here on Friday morning thinking, this is kind of what we had planned out in the summer when the schedule came out and when we were forecasting what this year was going to look like?
Exactly. 100%. Bill said, if we can be around 500, if we can be around the playoff line, Christmas, New Year's, set it for 3 straight months. And we were there. Check the box at Thanksgiving in a playoff spot where over 70% of the teams make the playoffs that are in a playoff spot at Thanksgiving. Was there at Christmas time. Next step, the Olympic break. 7 big games left going to the Olympic break. And for me, Mike, you have the 6-0-1 homestand, but we said everybody else has gotten hot. It's a 3-point cushion right now in the first wildcard spot to the tiebreaker to not being in a playoff spot. So, you just want to keep winning. And a huge division tilt in Nashville scheduled for Saturday. This is a road trip, Mike, that includes 2 division leaders in Tampa Bay and Carolina. Tampa Bay is the only other team in the NHL hotter than Utah right now. They're 9-0-1. Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. And it starts with a Nashville team that entered Thursday 3 points out of a playoff spot that had lost 2 in a row for the first time since November after they went into Colorado and beat the Avs in regulation for the first time this year that anybody's done that. They lost 7-2 in Vegas, The next night on Saturday, they came home after that emotional trip, down 4-0 to Buffalo in the second period, made it a game, but losing 2 in a row for the first time since November. And they've been a team that hasn't lost a week in terms of a win-loss record since Thanksgiving. So
Yep.
it's a big challenge, but for me, that's the biggest game. If you can go in and beat Nashville on Saturday, I'll take that 2 points and whatever comes for the 3 games the rest of the way on the trip.
I'd like a little more than that, but I agree. I agree. That's the big game right there. That's the division opponent. That's the team that beat you in your barn the last time as well in a game you probably should have won. Mammoth gave up 3 different leads. That's going to be a big one coming up on Saturday, and hopefully everybody can get safe to the arena. AD, wrapping up just kind of the big overall thoughts on the homestand, on the recent run of play, even dating back to that win at Madison Square Garden to kick off the new year. And this is not a word of caution, but a reminder. This is like that safety announcement on an airplane. Like, there's nothing to worry about, but we legally have to inform you about these things. The Mammoth had a very similar stretch to what they're in right now earlier in the season. It was a similar stretch of time. They won 7 games in a row. Like recently, Utah was winning in a variety of ways. They were winning games where they were the second best team on the ice at 5-on-5 that night. They were coming from behind. They were able to score in quick succession a few times, and maybe in some games get out to great starts. Keep in mind that only 2 of Utah's 6 wins during the homestand came against teams that are currently in the playoff picture. Those still count as 2 points, but the Mammoth had a great win against Dallas, a very good team. And other than that, there weren't a lot of the other heavy hitters on that homestand. Mammoth got out to bad starts against Seattle and Philly, their last 2 games. And you could make the argument that in both of those games, there were large stretches where Utah was the second best team on the ice that night. It is not sustainable for the Mammoth to keep starting games the way they did against Seattle and Philadelphia and expect to keep winning at this pace. Really, it's not sustainable for anybody to win at this pace. Celebrate the wins, go out for beers after a dub, but the NHL can humble you very quickly. It did the last time the Mammoth had this big of a run. Okay, safety announcement's done. Legally had to get that in. The other side of this is the Mammoth are starting to check a lot of boxes. AD, you're in the playoff spot. You're standings wise where you want to be right now. You're playing through big moments in games. Seattle comes back to tie it. Looks like the Kraken have momentum. Utah locks things down in a 3-3 game, sticks with it, doesn't change their game. They pour in 3 goals at the end to run away with it. Dallas and St. Louis make multiple pushes in those games. Utah responds each time. You had bad starts against Seattle and against Philadelphia. You overcame them throughout the game. And even when your initial surge was stopped, like it was against Philly, the Mammoth scored 2 quick goals, and then Philly extends their lead again, and you still push through that. The Mammoth have not been perfect in any of these games, but you have individuals rising to meet each moment. You're getting big saves, and your 5-on-5 numbers are excellent, led by your top line, Krause, Keller, and Schmaltz. And your leaders are making huge plays in the biggest moments. Keller, obviously, with the 2 goals against Philly. Dylan Guenther taking over against Toronto. Nick Schmaltz with the strip from behind on Garnet Hathaway against the Flyers and a bunch of other plays. Karel Vejmelka with save after save in big moments. Your best players are at their bests when the lights are the brightest. And I just think that we're watching this team learn how to win and do everything that we've heard Andre Tourigny and Bill Armstrong talk about them needing to do in the last couple years, and we're watching them do that in front of our own eyes. That's why you bring in all the Stanley Cup winners to this roster. That's why you add a Sergachev and a Cole and a Kevin Stenlund to your roster to learn how to win in these big moments. And things are good right now. It's not always going to be this peachy for the Mammoth. You always hit your rough patches, but with the Mammoth able to win in a variety of ways, fight back throughout games when the team is not at their best and things aren't perfect. It shows me a lot about this team, and it starts to change my mind a little bit about them in terms of where they are in their development as a winning hockey team, really. Because we've said this team is a group that needs to learn how to win, kind of, those buzz phrases, those cliches. We're seeing that now here in the dog days of the season with this recent stretch for Utah.
I mean, two teams or two times this year, Utah has erased a deficit of 3 goals to win a game. It's only happened 14 times in the NHL this year. Utah's done it twice. So that's a huge testament to them and the heart that they have to come back. Not a high percentage situation to be in. Twice a year is probably as much as you can hope for to erase a 3-0 deficit. But if you're going to chase a game, you may as well go win it. Down 3-0, down 4-2, and they chased it, they caught it, and they won it. Mike, some notes on that homestand. Third period's outscored the opposition 10-2.
Yep.
So they extended leads, they broke ties, they came from behind, they owned the third period, they finished strong. They scored 6 goals in a game twice in the final 4 games on that homestand. They allowed a single goal 3 times. They allowed 2 or less in 4 or 7, 3 or less in 6 of 7. They led for 65% of that homestand through the first 6 games before they took their first lead in overtime against Philly on Thursday. They only had 3 players over a point a game. Krause, Schmaltz, and Keller. Schmidt, Marino, and McBain, along with Gunther, had 6 points in 7 games. 9 players had at least 2 goals. 17 players had at least a point. That's my final rundown on the homestand. Mike, this road trip, you look at it, you're 3-2-1 against Nashville, lost here at home against them right out of Christmas, beat them second game of the year. But 1-2 overall against Tampa Bay, who's 9-0-1 in the last 10. 0-2-1 against the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, and 1-1 against Carolina. So combined record of 1-5-1 against the teams you're going to see in games 2, 3, and 4. So more chances to get a first win on the road in Carolina against those 3 teams as they've done in January. They've checked a lot of first-time boxes against tough teams.
Do you have the fangs, like vampire fangs, like the plastic ones you put in your mouth? You ever seen those?
I have, sure.
We need to get you those.
Don't have any currently.
We need to get you those and a cape, because you remind me a lot of Count Chocula with all those numbers. Is that the guy? Is that the guy from Sesame Street? The numbers guy?
No, that's just the Count.
Count. Count Chocula.
I am the Count.
Who's Count Chocula? Is that like a cereal or something?
I don't know. It's probably a cartoon I wasn't allowed to watch.
Okay.
As a child.
The Count. Yes, the Count.
I know
are
Sesame
Count.
Street.
You are Jar Jar Binks.
I love to count. I love to count.
Yeah, I'm like, holy numbers right there. But it is a great point. What is it, 1-5-1 against those 4 teams?
Yeah,
I mean,
the final 3. Yeah, the East Coast teams.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really tough stretch against those 3, as it has been the last couple years, and you just hope that you can get results in a couple of those games and win the Nashville game. Like if you go 1-1-2, I'm more than fine with that. I think for Utah, you don't care if those East Coast teams get points. You just need a couple. And let's not shortchange this team either. AD, the Mammoth have played some of their best hockey against the best teams in the league, and if they go out and play like they did against Dallas a few games ago against any 4 of those teams, like, it'll be a 1-goal game in the third period, as Bear likes to say.
I mean, you've beaten every division winner. Well, Tampa Bay and Detroit are tied right now. So with 66 points in the Atlantic, you've beaten Detroit. You've beaten Colorado in the Central. You've beaten Vegas in the Pacific. You haven't played the Metropolitan leader yet in Carolina. But, Mike, that's been one of our fun narratives, beaten 3 of the 4 division leaders so far this year. So you get a chance at Tampa Bay, at Carolina. I'd take 4 of 8 points and cash out on this trip, with 2 of those points being against Nashville.
Let's move right along to our Friday free-for-all here, Adrian. We have some awards to hand out. These are the dailies. It's not the Oscars. It's not the Grammys. These are the dailies that we're giving out. I won a Hoggy once upon a time.
Oh.
We'll get to that story here in a little bit. But Fun's first segment, wrapping up the homestand. We still have some more homestand numbers to get to, but we're going to get to them on an individual basis with the dailies coming up in just a bit right here on Mammoth Daily.
It's time for the Friday Free-for-All.
All right, this is our Friday free-for-all segment here on Mammoth Daily. And AD, a little bit ago, I referenced the Hoggies. This award you see right here, it's like the Dundies from The Office, if anybody's familiar with that show. But when I was in Rockford, Illinois, there were self-made like office awards that were all funny, right? Like if you wear a weird tie to the office one day, you get an award for the best tie. That's your Hoggy. We were the Rockford Ice Hogs. So they used, I think like this is a state fair trophy or something you'd give out for your prize hog. Just this farm animal on top of the trophy stand here. But in 2022, I was new to Rockford and I won the Hoggy for singing the blues. And I was new to Rockford. That was the AAA team. That is the AAA team for the Chicago Blackhawks. So it's the affiliate of the Blackhawks. And obviously the Blackhawks are rivals with the St. Louis Blues. And growing up, I was a Blues fan. And when I first got to Rockford, HR made me fill out, some information. And one of the kind of questions on the questionnaire was, tell us 5 fun things about you, and we'll share it with your office. So I'm okay. Now, as you know, AD, in a minor league office, you usually have fans of a bunch of different hockey teams, right? Regardless of the locality. And when I got to Rockford, I was thinking like, okay, it'll probably okay for me to say that I used to be a Blues fan. It's probably not a big deal, right? I'm not from here. I think people will understand that. Well, those fun facts, like my bio saying that I was a lifelong Blues fan, that got sent out to not just my Rockford office, but the entire Blackhawks organization. And so, like, Danny Wirtz, the owner of the Blackhawks, and, Kyle Davidson, the GM, are getting this email that says their AHL broadcaster is a huge Blues fan. And I have to, show up at training camp and prospect camp and stuff like that and try to blend in and hope that nobody remembers that. But that was a long-winded story of how I got the award for singing the blues. The office thought it was pretty funny that I accidentally exposed myself to the entire Wirtz Corporation as a Blues fan.
That's rough. Just starting out, getting your first AHL call up. Well, that's tough. I feel for you, man. Glad you got an award, though. I'm sure that made you feel better.
Yeah, a bit of a sarcastic award, but we have awards to give out. Awards for the homestand, AD. 7 games, 6 wins, 13 out of a possible 14 points, and a whole bunch of heroic efforts along the way for Utah. Where do you want to start, my friend?
Do you want to start just right off the top? Do you want to go with the MVP of the homestand? It's the usual. It's Karel Vejmelka, Mike. 6-0 on the homestand with a 2.00 goals against average, a save percentage of .924. In January, he's played the most games in the NHL. He's 8-1 with a 2.22 goals against average and a save percentage of .915. Mike, you talked about, the slow starts and, that the games that weren't perfect. And you can look at Karel Vejmelka as a key reason why the Mammoth won the games that they weren't totally perfect in.
Yeah, looking at his game log, he started off the homestand with maybe his best performance of the homestand. He stopped 32 of 33 against Ottawa in a game where the Sens had as many or more chances to score than Utah did in that game. He followed that up by allowing just 2 goals against St. Louis. And We heard Bear reference that game during media a couple days ago. He was talking about how that's a game where if we don't get those saves, we're talking a lot more about how bad we looked that night. But because Veggie only allowed 2, you win 4-2, and you say, okay, wasn't our best, but we win. Let's move on. And you don't dwell on it. And then he allowed just 1 goal in back-to-back games against Toronto and against Dallas. He was really good against the Maple Leafs with some big saves, especially early in that game before Utah broke it wide open. And then against Dallas, he stopped 26 of 27 on some elite shooters too. You know, Robertson had some chances. Wyatt Johnston had some chances. He was unreal. And of course, against Philly, he had that big save against Trevor Zegras as well in the third period. Could have been 5-2, should have been 5-2 at that point. But Veggie makes what our friend Brogan Houston called his best save as a Mammoth. You just saw it on YouTube right there. I can't think of one off the top of my head that I like more than that one. I'm not quite ready to give that save the number 1 spot, but it certainly helped Utah pick up 2 points against the Flyers that night. When the game could have been over right there early in the third. So he's plain and simply the most important player to this team. He leads the NHL in wins, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find another player who's as important to their team as Karel Vejmelka is to Utah.
Let's do the Captain's Award next, Mike, or the Leading Scorer Award for the homestand. And it's Clayton Keller, 13 points in 7 games, plus 13, led the team with 17 shots, had 4 multiple point games out of the 7, had 2 3-point nights, scored in 6 of the 7. Mike, have you ever seen a player take over a game like he did on Wednesday night to tie it with an unassisted 6-on-5 goal, which I've never seen before, and then win it in overtime on a great pass from Dylan Guenther as those two once again combined for a big one for the Mammoth?
I mean, not a player. I can't remember a player take over a game. Seen a goaltender do it, but not like that. That's a great point about an unassisted 6-on-5 goal. I'd love to see how many of those exist out there, because 80, there's not supposed to be a lot of space at 6-on-5, and you're also typically not generating chances off the rush at 6-on-5. Yeah. A lot of 6-on-5 goals you see are the crazy bounces, broken plays in front of the net. And Keller just had an unbelievable effort. And I mentioned this on the broadcast, and I want to bring it up again because I respect Travis Sanheim a lot, and I think he's one of the best defensemen in the Eastern Conference. He was representing Team Canada last year at Four Nations. That's Philly's best defenseman. He's a really good player. And Keller just puck jacked him and then took it in himself. You're not supposed to have room to make that kind of play on the wall, on the forecheck, and then go right to the net like Keller did. And I mean, goodness gracious, just on that goal call, AD, like I was almost laughing during the call. If you go back and listen to it, I couldn't believe it. Absolutely deserving of the Captain's Award. I mean, the Leading Scorer Award. How about this? Had an 8-game goal drought until that Philadelphia game. Longest goal drought of the season for him. And it wasn't because he was playing bad. He was just an assist man. He was a setup man. Multiple assists now, I think, is it 5 of the 10 games in January? And a lot of those have been primary. Like really good primary assists where his assist is directly leading to a goal. Sometimes you get an assist and, you know, a guy makes a great play and then there's a great shot at the end of it. And the guy who gets the secondary assist is sitting on the bench. You go back and look at Keller's last 10 assists or so, or however many assists, 11, his 11 assists on the homestand. And I would bet you that pretty much all of those were directly impacting the goal that was scored. His assist on Philadelphia or against Philadelphia was a secondary, I think, because Schmaltz touched it. But, it's right here if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah, he makes a heck of a play to steal the puck away from the Flyers and then gets kind of tripped up before dishing it off to Schmaltz, and then, boom, Krause back of the net. So that line was incredible, and it was led by the captain.
Let's do the Unsung Hero Award next. You want to give it to Jack McBain? It's quite the homestand for Boehner. Fought twice, had a goal and 2 assists, 3 points against Toronto in the 6-1 win, 6 points in 7 games, 28 hits on the homestand, had 8 against Dallas. But Mike, somehow he got under the skin of the Flyer on
Noah Juleson, yeah.
Wednesday night. Yeah, Noah Juleson got him to basically instigate a fight down 4-2 at home and turn the tide. And Mike, hockey is so funny. It's so fickle. That could be something that ignites the power play for the rest of the year. Scored a power play goal, got back within 1.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable play. I like McBain as the unsung hero. He wasn't the first one that came to my mind, but you do have to acknowledge the hits. He's, I believe, either top 6 or top 5 in the NHL in hits, just off the top of my head. And it seemed like he was getting thrown out there a lot after something bad happened to try and right the ship or create some momentum for the team. Really good, like as you mentioned, with a couple of goals and a couple of scraps as well, a couple of big tilts. Like Noah Juleson's not a small guy. He fought Alexei Toropchenko to start the game against St. Louis. He's 6'6". Jack McBain is not going to shy away from anybody, and he got the place lit up a couple times on that homestand. I was going to go with Nick Schmaltz as the unsung hero. I know second leading scorer on the homestand, kind of tough to be unsung. But AD, look at his game logs. He's playing almost 20 minutes a night as Utah's top centerman. He's killing penalties. He's doing so much more than just produce. He had 4 goals and 5 assists for 9 points through the 7 games. But 20 minutes a night, killing penalties, playing in every situation, at the dot a lot. That there's a lot of things to his game besides just the production. Our friend Mike Kelly from Sport Logic does a lot of the stats that we look at. He's a great account to follow on Twitter as well. He had a tweet I saw on Thursday that says Nick Schmaltz leads all forwards in the NHL in stick checks. That's where you separate the opponent from the puck with your stick. It's not just like whacking a guy. It's actually separating the opponent from the puck with your stick. He leads the NHL in that category. And the one he had on Garnet Hathaway, who could have scored the empty netter, and Schmaltz just hawks him down from behind, that was worth 2 points for the Mammoth that night.
I was going to just give him the Nick Schmaltz award. I couldn't come up with anything else, but I'm thinking about everything he did in the face-off dot, out there with Gunther and Krause on the power play for the Mammoth. They scored a couple big power play goals on the homestand. He was involved in both of them. So I was just going to give him the Nick Schmaltz award, 9 points in 7 games.
He's going to force, I think, the team to keep him at center once Logan Cooley comes back. If he keeps playing like this, like how do you break any of this up, right? Cooley's supposed to come back after the Four Nations break, and you think that's your number one center. Nick Schmaltz moving over from wing to center. He's done it before in his career, hadn't done it in a few years. We've talked about it a lot, but that's been a huge storyline for this team, and the way he's playing, like how do you not keep him there? But yeah, Nick Schmaltz award, give him whatever award you want, but he should be on the podium.
How about Barrett Hayton, Mike, in the faceoff circle? Won 62% of his draws during the homestand, including a game where he won all 11. Only player in the NHL this year to go 11 for 11. And right out in front, Dylan Gunther through the legs of Hayton. I think it went off of his calf. And Mammoth made it 4-3. Finishes the homestand with 2 goals in 2 games.
I didn't even see that they changed that to Barrett Hayton's goal. I thought it was Gunther's all the way. But
we watched it 100 times and couldn't tell from every angle.
Yeah. And good for Barrett Hayton on that, because he had a great screen. It's one of those where just because the screen was so good, that's worth something on the stat sheet. It usually doesn't show up, but the coaches know he's in the right spot, and he helped create that goal with the screen on Gunther's goal. Yeah, he was good at the faceoff dot, and if he gets going a little bit, that really helps the Mammoth with their depth scoring.
How about best D pairing? You want to go with John Marino and Nate Schmidt?
Yeah.
2 goals, 4 assists each. a plus 21 combined for 3 game-winning goals. Talks a lot about them, but Mike, they're in the same conversation statistically as players from like the Colorado Avalanche and Tampa Bay Lightning right now.
Yeah, and obviously different skill sets, and you would never mistake one of those two guys for Cale Makar, best D man in the league. We're not saying that, but
Sure.
when you look at the plus minus, when you look at how many goals they've been on the ice for versus against, which is what plus minus is, they're tops in the league. Didn't have as strong of a game against Philadelphia, but they took over the game against Seattle, and I think it really helps the Mammoth be able to kind of match with different forward lines and match up against the opposition when you have two pairs that you can throw out there and feel pretty good. And Schmidt and Marino playing off each other so well. Marino on pace for a huge career year in his second year with the team, and Schmidt's fit right in seamlessly. So yeah, no problem with them being an honorable mention. I also wanted to throw Ian Cole in there too. AD. I don't have a lot of stats to back it up, but he had a really good tie up on I believe it was the Philly game. It would have been a goal at the side of the net, and Cole tied a guy up to save a goal in the first period. Bunch of good defensive plays, and every time I bring up Schmidt and Marino or Sergachev and Dursey to Andre Tourigny, he always adds Ian Cole and Nick DeSimone. He always makes sure to bring up that third D pair. And I think they've been really steady together, and kind of like Schmidt and Marino, I think Cole and DeSimone play off each other really well and complement each other really well. We've seen DeSimone kind of activate in the offensive zone a couple times. Ian Cole, a stay-at-home defensive defenseman, going to block a ton of shots, going to park himself in front of the net and carve out space there. DeSimone makes a lot of quick decisions. He's very predictable. Like, you know where the puck's going when it comes to 57. So that third D pair has been really good as well. Wanted to shout them out, but it's hard not to have a lot of honorable mentions, Adrian, when you win 6 of 7 and pick up 13 out of 14 points.
Yeah, we listed, the involvement of all of the skaters in the opening segment here, but yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of an award show. The dailies, is that what you call them?
Yeah,
So,
the dailies.
the
Yeah,
dailies?
we
I
can
like
do
that.
the dailies once a week. We can give out awards all the time, right?
Yeah,
We
13
make
out
the
of
rules.
14. 13 out of 14 points. That's nice. Like that wild card spot Mammoth are in right now. But Mike, job goes on in Nashville Saturday, Florida Monday, Tampa Bay Monday, Florida Tuesday and Sunrise, and then Carolina on Thursday. Mike, local hockey segment. We got some fun stuff to cover. High school updates. Got an update on the Grizz Cup that took place over the weekend with some sights and sounds from that. So stay close. We're back with the third period and our local hockey roundup here on Mammoth Daily.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Time for our local hockey roundup here on Mammoth Daily. It's one of our favorite segments that we get to here at the end of your work week. AD, what do you want to start out with first? We've got the high school tournament going on. We've got the Grizz Cup. Where are you going to take us?
Let's start with the Mammoth walking in to the building on Saturday, Mike, our next gen day. Clayton Keller in a Wasatch Wild jersey as Lawson Krause there, Utah Lady Grizzlies, Ogden Mustangs, Daniil Booth, the junior Mustangs.
Wait, did the jersey not fit Daniil Boot? Is that why he was holding it instead of wearing it like everybody else?
Had to have been. Schmaltzy of the DC Wind. There's Vamelka, junior Aggies again. Dylan Gunther, Jack McBain. How about Dylan Gunther? Salt Lake City Central, high school girls hockey. So looks great. The guys walking in and representing in the organization jerseys on Next Gen Day.
That was such a fun day. We had some great next gen kids with us, Parker and Dallas. We also had somebody. Do you have Oliver of the Wasatch Wild come up to you, Adrian? Had him. It was a young. I don't know if it was 8U or 10U player at the season ticket holder event at the museum, but was telling us that he scored 4 goals on 6 shots in a game. So wanted to include our friend Oliver on the our local hockey roundup here.
And we also got a letter from our buddy Quentin, who's always on top of the local hockey scene. He says, I feel it's important to point out that the real reason for the Mammoth win over the Kraken was the Utah Lady Grizzlies U19 travel team, as Lawson Krause, the second star of the game, arrived to the game wearing assistant captain Samantha Shiflett's jersey. And who was standing next to him during the anthem? Number 1 star, Nate Schmidt, was with Evelyn Bohannon. So coincidence that they were the Mammoth's outstanding performers? I think not. Great stuff there from our buddy Quentin on the jersey walk-ins and the tie-ins there.
Yeah, no doubt. Great stuff, Quentin. Great recognition on that. Thanks for including those names as well. That was a ton of fun. Got to celebrate some local hockey. That wasn't like the main theme of the night. It was next gen, but it's kind of a natural tie-in. So yeah, can't wait for that next year. What else we got here locally?
Yeah, let's get to that Grizz Cup update. The Wasatch Wild, the 10U team, they were in the Grizz Cup over the weekend. Our buddy, our goaltender, Topher McKenzie, right there. They played 5 games. They beat the LA Junior Kings 7-2, beat the Texas Heat 4-2, lost in the championship game of the Grizz Cup to the Helena Bighorns. Topher in goal made 82 saves on the weekend, including games where he had save percentages of 900, 913, and 937.
All right. Way to go, Topher. Great work. Great for the Wild to get some wins. That was Vegas, right? Down in Vegas?
Park City is where they finished it off. Yep.
Park City. Excellent. Golly, that's fantastic.
So, yeah, folks, you can always get in. Send us your updates here for our local hockey roundup. Leave the comments on YouTube. Hit me and Mike up on Twitter or Instagram. Send us your pictures, your videos, your scores, your stats. Congrats to the 10U Wasatch Wild. Great tournament. Second place over Martin Luther King Jr. weekend in the Grizz Cup. All right, Mike. High school hockey. Oh, the big one, Mike. Park City and East went at it Wednesday night. Of course, East, the only team that's beaten Park City this year. And in the state tournament on Wednesday night, Park City Red gets them back. They beat them 10-1.
Oh.
Yep. And then you had Skyline and Brighton Navy. Brighton Navy gets a 7-2 win. So Brighton, East, Park City, Skyline, great seasons, fun tournament, Mike. We had such a blast. We've been talking about it since we went last week and saw the East Brighton game that was 2-1 in favor of East there. But congrats to everybody in the high school tournament. That those are our latest scores.
So does East have to go into the losers bracket now and fight their way through? Because it's double elimination, right?
Yeah, it looks like they have a game with Brighton coming up on
rematch
Monday. Yep.
Okay. All right. That was the game we were at, right?
Yep. And then the winner will play Park City Red. Looks like.
Okay. And also beat them twice.
Let me see here. These brackets. Winner will play Park City.
It's not
again.
March. Adrian's not in bracket form yet.
I got it right though. I just wanted to double check. It's a big deal. Big deal. So
yeah.
You know, Mike, you got folks out there that they will let us know. So I thought I'd save them an email if I could there by double checking.
It's kind of a bummer the way the schedule worked out, because the game that we went to last week was literally the only game in the high school tournament that we could have realistically made it to back at Steiner the same night as the season ticket holder event at the Museum of Natural History. So would have loved to have gone to the games last night and what the championship games, the 28th. Is that right? So next week, and I'll be on the road. We'll have games and stuff like that. So missing out on some, but do want to keep being involved with the high school tournament because there's so much good hockey and want to spotlight those athletes as well.
Yeah, that's it, folks. Thanks for sending the updates on the local hockey. We love it. Programming note, if you want to get anything in for the Tuesday mailbag, it'd be great to get some stuff this weekend that we can get ready for that. Just leave it in the YouTube comments. Again, with your questions, hit me and Mike up on Twitter or Instagram. Video messages are encouraged. You can submit them to us on Twitter or Instagram, but leave your questions in the YouTube. 5-star ratings on Apple, always encouraged. You can leave a question there. So get the questions in for the Tuesday mailbag. It's coming fast, but Mike, fun week, great week. Couple wins for the Mammoth. We look back at Seattle and Philly to wrap up the homestand. So good stuff.
Great stuff. It's been smooth sailing for the Mammoth. There's a storm in the distance. Batten down the hatches. There's going to be 4 big games on the road starting Saturday, maybe, in Nashville. But we will talk to everybody on Hockey Night in Utah on Saturday night from Music City, and we'll hope that the Mammoth can start off the road trip with 2 points against a divisional opponent. Thanks for everybody who came by at the top of Section 7 on the 6-7 side at the Delta Center. Please, we encourage you to do that for home games, and we love getting to as many of these comments as possible as well. So we'll see everybody on Saturday. Have a great weekend.